UFC 300 just came to a close, and today, guys, I will be giving my betting recap for the channel, as well as reacting to a lot of fights on the card. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels, and welcome back to another reaction video, guys, where we talk about the fights, like I just said. Timestamps are there if you'd like to skip to any particular part, guys. Let's get started with the official bets that we placed for the channel. So we had UFC 300 official plays and bets. I had this to say. A reminder, there is a members only video already uploaded diving more in depth with these picks. I talk about confidence levels, reasoning, etc. I highly suggest that instead of just tailing. The reason that I said that is because for UFC 300, I saw a ton of underdog value and a ton of just bets that I would like to place for fun. For example, being Cody Brundage. I had no faith in Cody Brundage, but for plus 1300, what I got him at, I thought that was absolutely insane, and I wanted to bet on a lot on this in this card just for UFC 300, guys. So it was a little bit different, and I explained this in the members only video that I was targeting a lot of value here instead of 100% safety like I typically do. So, of course, I had the fun parlay, which completely, absolutely bombed, right? But you know what? It's a fun parlay. Also, a single bet on Cody Brundage to win. I could not ignore those odds. Diego Lopez to win. Got the job done, and we had a lot of mixed success over here, guys. This one actually shocked me. The single bet for 0.25 units, Calvin Kattar to win. I thought Calvin Kattar was going to win. I didn't just bet that because it was an underdog. I thought Calvin Kattar was going to beat Aljamain Sterling. Didn't happen. We're going to talk about the fight more. Another single bet, we had Gaethje Rabadinov to win in the PFL and Weili Zhang to win. That I should have bet more on, but I get really, really risky with parlays myself, or like really bent out of shape because so many things go wrong in the MMA world, right? But at the end of the day, that bet hit. This one was a little bit shocking that Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison didn't go over 1.5 rounds. This other PFL parlay that I had, Clay Collard to win and Sabito Busai to win, Sadi Busai, I didn't mean to mispronounce there, both to win. Clay Collard looked fantastic, and Sai, if you guys were to watch the PFL, Sai got injured right off the gate, so that bet ended up not working. This two-fight parlay at fantastic odds, which was very, very nice, both Jiri Prochazka and Aleksandar Rakic, and Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway to go over 1.5 rounds. That hit nicely. We also had another two-fight parlay, and this is important to note that we're getting into the bigger units here. Davison Figueiredo and Weili Zhang to win. Another bet with Alex Pereira to win, and of course, Jim Miller didn't hit. I was worried about him being 40, but I thought it was crazy for the value that he was at there. Max Holloway to win. Fantastic odds on that one. Oh my God, he got the job done. And then, of course, unfortunately, I was confident in Aleksandar Rakic, and I was fairly confident in Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, I was talking about, like, Arman Tsarukyan is a really, really tough guy, but I made the bet because I was sick of doubting Oliveira. I know there was a lot of controversy with the win. I thought Arman Tsarukyan won the fight, but there's nothing you can do, and Marina Rodriguez ended up losing as well, and Marina Rodriguez, I thought, was crazy value as well. So it is important to note, guys, and I made this very clear in the members only video, that there were a lot of fights here where I was playing with my money. So I'm not looking at this mixed success like a huge, huge disappointment. It's UFC 300. I wanted to target a lot of value this time around. So guys, if you're interested, typically I'm a lot safer with my picks. Check out the channel membership if you are interested in seeing my official plays before every single UFC card. I will be honest with you, next week is pretty dicey, and I don't know how much I'm necessarily going to be betting because, or not next week, the following card. There's not a ton that I see there that is going to be really looking all too great. But anyways, let's talk about some fights. I want to start off with talking about Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. The day was coming, man. The day was coming where Jim Miller had to look his age, and he did look his age. He could not keep up with Bobby Green's speed at all. He was a step behind, 10 steps behind the whole time, but he toughed it out. It really hurt my heart, to be honest with you. It really hurt my heart that Jim Miller won at UFC 100, 200. I wanted him to win at UFC 300, but Jim Miller's not done yet. Hopefully he can have that fairy tale ending one day, but he's still going to fight, and Jim Miller, I have a bad feeling that he might just go out like a BJ Penn or a Tony Ferguson, you know, but Jim Miller, he did tough it out. He looked okay, but Bobby Green was just on point. Actually, to be honest with you, it worried me once I heard about these $300,000 bonuses and how someone would fight. Bobby Green was definitely one of those fighters who wanted that bonus. Next up, I want to talk about Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar, and this one actually shocked me. I know I received quite a few comments on my full card breakdown that Calvin Kattar, I was crazy for picking Calvin Kattar. I thought he was going to be bigger. I thought that he was the better striker than Aljamain Sterling 100%, and I thought he had good enough takedown defense where he would have been able to really shrug Aljamain Sterling off, and he showed that he had some really, really solid takedown defense, but Aljamain Sterling looked huge, strong, vastly improved with his pressure, by the way. Like, Aljamain Sterling looked like he stepped it up a game. He stepped it up a game completely. He looked like not a killer, but he did a lot of holding. But, I mean, like, he looked like a big, imposing figure in there. And I was really disappointed by Calvin Kattar's performance, man. I thought he would do a little bit better than he did. I thought he was going to win the fight. Like I was talking about, I targeted a lot of value, underdog value, when I was betting on this card. That wasn't the case with Calvin Kattar. I thought Calvin Kattar was actually going to win the fight. And I was like, dude, Calvin Kattar's at an underdog? Absolutely, I'm going to be hitting that. It did worry me that it was off a little bit. That's why I ended up placing only a little bit of money on him, but I still thought that he was going to win the fight. Aljamain Sterling, though, how's he going to do in the rest of the division? I don't think he's going to hold up all that well. If he fights a Topuria or a Volkanovski, I think they are going to absolutely murder him, but I mean, how many times have we said that about Aljamain Sterling at this point, right? But honestly, I think it's a little bit different. I think he's going up to a couple. He can't come in and just hold Volkanovski. That's not going to happen. And I think Topuria is a little bit too much of a killer for that too. Next up, Jiri Prochazka versus Aleksandar Rakic. Now, guys, I think it was half a unit on Aleksandar Rakic. I was worried about the layoff, but I thought he was infinitely a better fighter than Jiri Prochazka. And I was talking to my brother and my dad while I was watching the fights. I was like, yeah, Aleksandar Rakic is the better fighter. Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is a technical mismatch. And Rakic was really showing that. And Jiri willed his way to victory. Like, I am a huge Jiri Prochazka fan, so I'm kind of happy this happened, to be honest with you. But, man, I don't think any fighter on this roster could have taken the damage that Aleksandar Rakic was dishing out and just fight like it didn't matter. Like Rogan said, Jiri was being just flat out dismissive of what was coming. His leg didn't work anymore. He was getting rocked. He was getting wobbled. He came in there and straight up out-willed Aleksandar Rakic, and Rakic was swinging for the fences. He was chewing up the legs, body, head. Rakic was looking fantastic. Like I said, guys, I still believe it. Rakic is an infinitely better fighter than Jiri Prochazka, but yet it's not all that matters in a fight. Jiri Prochazka ended up just swarming him, making the fight chaos like he typically does, and Jiri Prochazka ended up getting the win. He looked fantastic. I'm excited for Jiri. I'm a huge, huge fan of the guy. So honestly, even though I lost money on that one, I can't help but be really happy for Jiri. Now I want to talk about an interesting performance. We have Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. Oh boy, Bo Nickal did not live up to the hype. Wow, he had problems with Cody Brundage. And I mean no disrespect to Cody Brundage. I always feel bad about talking about him, but he is like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the UFC. But I will say, Cody Brundage made it a point where it was clear he did not want to just be a stepping stone. He did not want to be here just for Bo Nickal to step over and walk into stardom from. He tried to win. He tried to swing. And Bo Nickal even had problems wrestling. That's worrisome. He wants to fight Anthony Hernandez? Anthony Hernandez will kill him. He will kill him. Even we mentioned Roman Kopylov too. Roman Kopylov might actually catch him too. Like, I just completely lost hype on Bo Nickal after that performance. And I know there's always room to get better. I really do. But I never understood why he was such a big favorite. He was so unproven. It's crazy to me. Crazy to me that Bo Nickal was that huge of a favorite, and he did not live up to the hype. And honestly, I've been talking about throughout the week how I'm not a Bo Nickal hater. I like the guy, but it really rubbed me the wrong way that he started booing himself and really disrespecting his opponent in Brundage in that sense, where he's like, I should have walked through this guy. Like, I don't know. I know you're really high on yourself, but I just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit that he did that. Moving on to Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. This was a fantastic fight. Fantastic scrambles, fantastic jiu-jitsu, very, very violent. Charles Oliveira almost choking him out, getting an armbar in the second triangle choke, and almost finishing the fight in the third as well. But at the end of the day, Arman did a little bit more. I know there was controversy on this fight, but I did think that Arman Tsarukyan edged it out. If they gave it to Oliveira, I wouldn't be too upset. It was a close fight, and I can understand the argument for Charles Oliveira, but I think Arman Tsarukyan got on top more. He did enough damage, and he even cut Oliveira. He made Oliveira a little bit of a mess, so I don't mind Arman winning this fight. And for what's next for Arman, I think he deserves a title fight after that. I really do. I think that he should jump the line if they were going to give it to Max Holloway or make Max Holloway go down to fight Ilia Topuria. I don't know, but I think that at this point, Arman Tsarukyan deserves a title fight. I actually don't think he beats Islam Makhachev, though. He'll strangle Poirier if Poirier happens to catch Makhachev, but I don't think anything's going to really change in that matter. Moving on, though, to Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Holloway put on a clinic. There's nothing else to say about that. Holloway put on a clinic. That spin kick was money. He was dancing around Justin Gaethje, and everything that we were worried about with Justin Gaethje happened. We were worried about Justin Gaethje having the Tony Ferguson effect on Holloway, but Holloway's chin is still unbreakable. And for the vast majority of the fight, he wasn't even there to get hit. And then Max Holloway, at the end of the fight, has one of the greatest moments in UFC history. He's running away with the decision. 50-45. Absolutely. Running away with the decision. He points to the middle of the octagon like he did against, was it Lemos? I don't really remember. But anyways, why am I having a blank on that? It doesn't matter. He points to the center of the cage and swings it out with Justin Gaethje in 1 second on the clock. He knocks Justin Gaethje out just like he did with the Korean Zombie. That was one of the greatest moments in UFC history. Max Holloway continues to get me as a huge fan. He's one of the greatest to ever do it, man. People look over him because of his losses to Volkanovski, but he is one of the greatest to ever do it. I really do believe that. And he is getting better. That's crazy to me. I swear to you, this isn't recency bias. I really do believe Max Holloway is the guy to destroy Ilia Topuria. I think that he's still evolving. I think that he was on another level tonight. He was in the zone, and he's still getting better, man. I think Max Holloway is fantastic. I want to see him fight for a title at lightweight or featherweight. He deserves it at this point, man. He absolutely deserves it. Moving on to the co-main event, Weili Zhang versus Xiaonan. At least Weili Zhang had competition this time. That was nice to see, but she won the fight in the first, choking Yan out unconscious. Shame on Uriah Faber in their corner, by the way, for making their fighter go up for the second round. They should not have done that. And in the second fight, Weili was pounding on her so much that the fight should have absolutely been stopped. And then we still had a fight. Like, the heart on Yan is ridiculous, but Weili ended up dominating as usual. There's nothing else to say about that. And honestly, there's not a lot to say about the main event either. It didn't last too long. Alex Pereira, Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill didn't look fazed by Alex Pereira. I thought it was a little bit badass, to be honest with you, when Jamahal Hill was standing on the outside of the cage while Pereira was walking out with the bow and arrow. Like, I thought that was a really cool moment by both of them, to be honest with you. But fight didn't last long. Alex Pereira dismissed a nut shot, knocked out Jamahal Hill, and then did the... I feel bad for Hill, man. I'm not a Hill hater like a lot of people, but that went as expected, to be honest with you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Check out the video on screen. I will see you in the next video. Take care.